Perfect.
Good job, Angela. Thanks.
Thank you.
Lori to the rescue once again. Okay. We're going to call the meeting to order. This is the meeting of the St. Catharines Fallen Firefighters Memorial Task Force on Tuesday, September 26th, 2023. Item number 1 is recognition of our traditional territories, in which we acknowledge that the land on which the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Task Force meets today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of who continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging this as a reminder that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. Item number 3, any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Dodge, seconded by Nancy. All those in favor? Approved. Next, we have the minutes of the July 11 meeting in front of you. They were all distributed in advance. There's a couple of action points that we will deal with under business arising. So we'll look for a motion to adopt the minutes of July 11. Moved by Nancy, seconded by Councillor Lindell. Thank you. All those in favor? Please remind me when I forget to call the vote. Thank you. Any declarations of interest? Seeing none, move to presentations. I've invited guests. We have none of those tonight. And we will move to the business arising from the minutes. We had one takeaway for Ryan Medill, which was the letters that were sent out to the other associations. I don't know if anybody has any updates on whether there's been any uptick from them. I know Ryan was going to continue to try to pursue that through some phone calls and some other outreach.
He hasn't said anything to us. Sorry, Barry.
Oh, go ahead.
He hasn't mentioned anything other than when the last time we met.
Okay. I think somebody mentioned me. I think we had 1 brick or 2 bricks that had come in. So we'll just take it on as another action item to carry forward an update from Ryan and to continue to pursue a participation from the other associations. Everybody good with that? Anything else on that? Okay, and then the other action item coming out of the minutes was the Niagara Community Foundation. I did meet with Keithio Mwanza, probably familiar to some of you, who's on the board, and he was checking into the next available windows of opportunity. I'm not 100% how germane, applicable that'll be once you hear the rest of the reports, but nevertheless, I've stayed in touch with them and will continue to update the committee if there's an opportunity and certainly try to action it if we think there's something actionable. But we did have a good chat, most of which was me expressing my concern over the decision-making and allocation of funds last time. So I think they got the message and they're looking at what opportunities may exist going forward. Any questions on the Community Foundation? Okay, so that's the business arising from the minutes. I'd now like to move to our final agenda item, which is just a general business update and an update on our fundraising and where we're at with our campaigns. So I have some relatively good news for our group. I will start by, if you haven't noticed yet, and I hope you have, that this is what has been completed on the construction of the Firefighters Memorial to date. Flagpole foundations in, bronze statue foundation in, LODD granite walls foundations, full LODD, for those of you that don't know, Trevor knows, is line of duty deaths. So that's the memorial that will honor those fallen. That foundation is in. The full concrete pad and walkways with the opening for the bricks evident. The conduit has been run for the future water and electrical, and the grading has been completed as well. So it was extremely important for this project to get these weather contingent items in before winter hit. There's a couple that we're going to try to get in as well, which are a little bit weather conditioned. So the installation of the flag poles, potentially the benches, and potentially the front sign can all also be completed before winter. The remaining items, which include the remainder of the foundations, the electrical, the installations, which is all the big stuff, the granite walls, and etc., are yet to come. And there's a few things that I met with the contractor, which is where the bulk of this is coming from. There's a few things to follow up with the city on with respect to landscaping and water, and so that's underway. So all in all, we're making some decent progress on getting this thing completed for next spring. It would be completed sooner, I think, if we didn't run into some weather issues. So that's a little update on the physical plant. It's a segue to my next point, which is fundraising and how we intend to approach the both the construction and the balance of our fundraising. So I'm very pleased to let you know that we have now completed 100% of our tier 1 sponsors. And I can let you know that the Cullen family, of Brian Cullen Motors and Bob Cullen in particular, have picked up our final tier 1 $50,000 contribution. So that now gives us the Firefighters Union, Rankin, Mayor Senzik's golf tournament, Cullens, Dan O'Hara, who, by the way, I spoke to today, of O'Hara Trucking, and happy to fill out the form. Lori, I'll follow up with you to get that to him. He actually walked by there during Grape and Wine and saw the work, and he was worried that he had missed out on his opportunity. So he called me today, which is why it's very important that the work started and people can actually see what's happening there. And of course, the Cooper family, who the city helped us with the conversion of shares. So that actually exceeded our $250,000 tier 1 goal by $30,000. So that gets us to 280. Of our trees and benches, our target was 15, as everybody knows. I'll go through it quickly, but these are families of fallen firefighters: Bozak, Lobsinger, Caholen, George Dart, not a family of a fallen firefighter, just a good community leader. Mayor Senzik's golf tournament, Starfield, city supplier, Ted Hoxie and Beatties, my family, and Steve Bridges' widow, in addition to Pantera, which is Sunil, and our former mayor, Brian McMullen, have all purchased benches or trees. That gets us to 11 of the 15. We have 4 to go, and I'm optimistic through another golf tournament that I was involved in this summer that we've sold another one already. So I believe there's 3 benches or trees in this case left to go, and I don't think that'll be an issue. I've had a number of people looking at a larger donation that I can shift to this. It's just a question of getting the time. So that brings our tier 1 to $280,000, our tier 2 to $110,000. In addition to that, we've had some miscellaneous of about $8,000 through the boot drives and the fire fit, and I think, Nancy, the event that you ran, and a few of these ancillary things like that. And so before the bricks currently, by the way, when I looked last, are at 44 bricks sold of 250. for $17,600. So all of that puts us over $400,000, puts us at about $415,000 in that range, of which close to 300 we're getting is in cash already in. The rest is a few follow-ups with getting the pledge forms completed. The city's treasury department or finance department, whatever it's called, has been very helpful, frankly. And Lori, of course, has continued to show leadership at the staff level, which has been helpful to work with us on making sure that we never get ahead of either having a completed donor form or cash in the bank as we complete various aspects of construction. So I've asked the contractor to break down items based on lead times and put together 3 or 4 or 5 different pods so we can, basically coincide our fundraising efforts with the construction work that needs to be done. Frankly, we already have enough money to complete everything before winter anyway. So we're in pretty good shape on all of that. We will get a few of these last items in, likely provide a update to council at some point in time in the future when I have this construction piece completed. But so really good news on the contractor's work to date and the contractor's schedule, and frankly, the contractor in general. They've been great to work with. Excellent news on the major tier 1 donor and the trees and benches. This, of course, brings us to our last remaining piece, which is the bricks. So I met with Lori and Chief Upper on when we met with the city finance department to make sure that we were aligned with their needs before funds were dispersed. We sort of, I kind of came up with 3 activities that we're going to undertake to try to stoke the brick campaign. And they're by no means a complete list. And as always, while I'm presenting these 3 options to you, please think of other things that we might be able to do. So the first one was the Chamber of Commerce. And I met with Mishka Balsam, who's the general manager or president or whatever of the chamber. She was extremely amenable to the idea of running a communication campaign through the chamber's auspices. As you now know, it's the Greater Niagara Chamber. They represent a couple of thousand businesses. And, in exchange for some bricks that would be the equivalent of what people would pay for that service, she's agreed to do it. She agrees with me that the timing is good, and it's a nice way for people, either small businesses or individuals, to contribute. So we're going to disseminate information. Lori, I'll have to work with you on a communication piece that sort of fits their needs. It'll just be a rejig of stuff we already have, but want to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for people to just, hop on the website and drop in a credit card or something like that. So if you think that that's a problem, let me know. But then I'm going to do a personally blast into my contact network with the same. I personally think that this is a wonderful holiday gift to be able to have recognition forever in a city park is just something that does not happen very often. It's, first of all, a park like this in and of itself is a massive undertaking. But for you to either commemorate a loved one, yourself, a business, or anything forever in the city park is a rare opportunity. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that. We have a few stragglers. I did meet with the Mayor's Golf Committee yesterday. There was a sign-up sheet. About a half a dozen people signed up for bricks. That still has to come over, Lori, to get those things processed. So we're making some progress here. And then the last item, and we've kind of been dancing around, was trying to engage the firefighter community. And so I reached out to Larry Jones, and I haven't heard back from him. I'm not sure I have the right contact number. So Trevor, I know this isn't necessarily your wheelhouse, But I'd like to get the name and numbers, if I could, of a few retirees. I gravitate toward the ones that are friends of mine, but you'll know who in the group are leaders, and might be able to help us. The guys that I know are guys like Larry Jones, Larry DeYoung, um, Bobby McLaren, guys like that. But I'd like to, I don't know if I can get this through you or somebody else, but I've been talking about this and no one's really taken the initiative. So I'm just going to do it myself and reach out to them and see if I can get them. And I'm open to suggestions as to how to get the rest of the firefighter community involved in this. This is a grassroots piece of the campaign. The bricks, we have a couple hundred left to go. And I just think that if you're a former firefighter or you're related to a firefighter, um, once you find out just how special a tribute this will be, not just to the fallen, but to the profession itself, it should be hopefully an easy sell. So any thoughts on at least that piece, Trevor, and then to the rest of the group on what I've suggested or other items going forward?
I can definitely get you, we can collect the names. I know Justine Morris usually takes care of all the retirees and their contact stuff. We were set up at the retirees banquet in the spring, were we not? Yes.
Yeah, well, there was one I was supposed to speak at and I missed. I think, but that was last fall. There's just one a year, or is there two a year?
Just one, and maybe it was in the fall.
Yeah.
It used to be in the spring. But leave it with me. I'll try to.
Do you know if it's happening again this fall?
It usually does. I haven't heard a date yet, but it does usually occur once a year. It used to be fall. It used to be the spring, and I think they moved it to the fall or vice versa.
Okay.
But for the current staff, I'll let me put some thought to it as to how we can kind of encourage them to purchase bricks.
Yeah, I mean, I got you, Councilor Lindo. Give me one sec. I just think that if I know it's maybe like my thought is it's a great holiday gift, but whatever. We have, like, everybody kind of bugs out in the winter. We sort of have a rare opportunity here for the next couple of months to just really get the word spread on this. So whatever list you can get me, whatever contact info you get me, and whatever thoughts you have about current firefighters would be greatly appreciated. Councilor Lindo.
Hi, I'm sorry. I might have missed this, but is it $250 a brick?
400.
$400 a brick? Okay, thank you.
The important thing about that, well, there's lots, but one of the things I tell people is it's not I think it's an 8x8 brick versus what you consider a regular brick, like your house, right? And it's much bigger, and it affords more lines of items if you want to put on there. I can't remember what the characters are, but it's decent. You get 3-4 lines if you want. So it's a decent sized brick. It is a rare opportunity to get involved in like I said, in sort of a permanent recognition. And I can promise, like, it took me a long time because on some of these fundraising things, because there's multiple meetings and all that. When I get in front of people on the bricks, like, the bricks are generally pretty easy, and we just got to get in front of people, make it easy for them, make sure they understand it, etc. So, and again, the idea behind this was, we thought, and maybe wrongly, but we thought that we would get some kind of help from the sort of vast network of firefighters, and it just doesn't mean existing staff there. It means retirees, friends of, ones that they've helped. Firefighters have done a lot of stuff in this community, and like, the guys were all out there doing their thing at Grape and Wine, and people recognize that, and they're happy to give back if we just can bridge that communication gap. So I'll leave it up to you, Trevor, as a takeaway from the meeting on the contacts and potentially ideas for the actual people, current firefighters. Is that fair?
That sounds good to me.
I appreciate that. We all do. Anybody else with any ideas or uh, suggestions around the augmented brick campaign? Okay, so Councilor Dodge, sorry.
Hi, sorry. I was by there as well and I saw the construction and stuff going on and I don't know whether, are we gonna put a sign or anything out there, like even a temporary sign about what's happening there? Because I think that there's probably a lot of people that are possibly wondering now that something started. And if we hadn't, I don't know whether we were gonna do that, but maybe if we did put a sign out there, a temporary sign, we could put something, buy a brick, donate, something so that people that maybe don't hear it through whatever venues that we're using that might want to do that. If they see the sign, they might be interested in somehow reaching out. I don't know whether we had that.
It's a good point. We had a sign with the website on it, and they took it down to facilitate the construction. I actually noticed it yesterday. It's sandwiched in between the two transformers, step down transformers that are there. So I will talk to the contractor about getting that re-erected in a spot that won't interfere with the construction. When we did the groundbreaking, we did put it sort of dead center. That was our call. They were clear with us that once they started construction, they'd have to move it. They didn't move it. They just took it down. So we'll get that back up. So at least people know. And it's not a bad idea to say, if you want to participate, here's the website. So I'll take that under advisement, but certainly talk to the contractor at the very least about getting it put back up. That's an action item for me. Okay, well, listen, folks. If we can get the firefighter community and the community at large focused on the bricks, and bear in mind, the bricks can be installed all the way up to next spring. They are one of the last installation items. So I'm not pressing the panic button yet, especially since we've had so much progress on some other aspects of fundraising, and I think we'll continue to move forward with construction. So that concludes my presentation. I'll open it up for any items of new business or any questions at this point. Councilor Dodge.
Is our next meeting on October 10th still?
No, we'll move that one. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm away for starters, and I think given the proximity of this meeting, so I think our next one will be the November meeting if everybody's good with that.
Okay, because we have transit on the 17th, so I didn't want it to, I know that it keeps messing everybody up as well, so.
Yeah, I need to take a little bit of responsibility for the movement of these last two meetings. But I really wanted to get the city finance meeting out of the way. It's quite critical, and we have to make sure that, like, I can come up here and present this stuff, but unless we have the this signed and money flowing, all this stuff, that it puts a speed bump in front of our progress. So I honestly believe that the city's being extremely cooperative, or as cooperative as they can be under the circumstances. So I just thought that would be a much more meaningful presentation than and that's kind of why, and that meeting moved a couple of times, and I think my schedule is a disaster, as you can probably all know. So it was a few different mitigating factors. So let's get ahead of this one. Don, you're 100% correct, and we'll book the second Tuesday in November as per our normal frequency as our next meeting.
That's good.
Anybody else?
In regards to the retirees, I had found, like previous months ago, that a lot of them weren't getting their emails, and I've done my best to try and straighten that out, but it may still be an issue, and I'll check into it again.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're not getting the message to them, and so that's okay. We have time here. We'll try to fix it, and with your help, Nancy Trevors, and a few other outreaches. I'm sure my thought right now is maybe to pull a meeting together. And I'm happy to do that, host that, get as many of them as I can to it, and start the process that way. Jackie?
Sorry, I just got a question from someone asking if they get a tax receipt if they buy a brick.
Yes,
Yes.
good question. Yeah, the city's great with the receipts. It helped me immensely on the major donor stuff.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can also add that if you purchase the brick through the online portal, which is the Raisin platform, it issues a tax receipt immediately and emails it to you instantaneously. So you get it automatically as soon as your $400 donation is processed.
That's awesome.
Yes, well, see, the councilors are surprised by an efficient city thing like that, and I don't blame you. So that's things happening in quicker than normal over there. So that's what we aspire to do here at the Fallen Firefighters Committee. So all good.
Again, I'll also add, Mr. Chair, that if you make your donation through the Raisin portal, it is actually preferred because there is fields that you actually populate with the inscription that you want on the brick. So you make your donation and you can actually type out what you want imprinted on the brick. So that saves us on the back end from the admin an extra step of having to reach out and confirm what you want as the inscription. So it's one-stop shopping. So we are hoping that we will drive all of the brick customers. We have 200 more bricks to sell, that we can drive them all to that portal, and it's nice and easy and efficient.
Word of mouth. Good points. Any other questions? Items? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Dodge, seconded by Nancy. All those in favor? Okay, thank you, everybody, and thanks for your continued efforts. We'll see in November. Anything else that happens materially in between then and now will likely circulate through emails. So again, appreciate everybody joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.